everyone. Mark over here at Twanger's Turntable. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for tuning in. If you're a newcomer, I hope you find something you'll dig. You stick around. For those that are returning, appreciate you all doing so. Jumping on I'm going to incorporate a thread that's been started by Jacob over in Denmark. And he's started up a channel, Jacob Musicworld. If you've not been to Jacob's channel, make sure you go over there and sub him up. And it's basically a thread about joy, and he's bang on. You know, on a global level, the world could definitely use more large-scale joy. There's a lot going on. I mean, there always is, right? But yeah, it's a great thread, and him touching on certain things that I could relate to. It's a thread he started a while ago. I'm just being able to catch up on a few things here now. My buddy Brett is also doing a thread on things that we would be devastated about if we lost, that I hope to get a chance to jump on that one as well. But anyway, let me get to it. I thought I'd incorporate it with some records that I picked up recently, some that had been high on my list of ones that I'd wanted. And as I mentioned in prior videos, stuff that I'd picked up at Christmas and never had a chance to display, to show. A couple of one that I still have not unboxed. Whether I do that in this video remains to be seen. Stick around. We'll see whether I do that or not. If time permits, maybe I will. But yeah, let's get to it. Just some records that I picked up recently and kind of lucked out. I don't know what it's like for you when you're those who go out and dig through crates and find so-called grails or whatnot, or if you just by happenstance find a record and maybe the person that is selling it is not a fan of that genre of music or that particular album, and they're letting it go for way less than what the median or average price is on Discogs and those other databases you may refer to, or what I refer to for sure. But I was pleasantly surprised with a couple of these that I'm going to show. So let's get to it. First one I'm going to show, I picked this up when it came out back in '92, and it was Countdown to Extinction by Megadeth. I've had this on cassette since it was released. This is basically their sixth studio album, and with the classic lineup as they are known, right? The late great Menza on drums, and just always loved this album. I love the what's the word I'm looking for? How would you know what's the word I'm looking for? But basically the subject matter, you know, it's Dave has always been one that's sometimes a little bit too political for me, but certain things that are near and dear to me personally, I don't speak about too often, but personally, one of those things is animal welfare. So, you know, Countdown to Extinction really speaks to that. So yeah, what I recently found was on vinyl. Let me take it out of that jacket. Now the sleeve itself is not the greatest. It definitely shows its age, and this is actually a South Korean copy. But when I saw this, I immediately grabbed it thinking, well, you know, I'm going to be into this probably for $100 or so. Like I say, if you look at some of these databases that show what these are, of course, they're only valued at what somebody's willing to pay for, but I commonly see them for well over $100. So this one, when I found it, was, I guess it would be about around $20 US, because it was 30 some dollars Canadian, not quite $40. But yeah, I grabbed that immediately, and it's been on my list for a while. I just dropped a piece of paper. There we go. Sorry about that. And then next up, this one I found. I watched a video by I think it was Frank. I'm not sure. Most of us know Frank Landry over at 33 RPM, and he had done a video about Toys R Us selling records, which is basically the owner of HMV. He's a billionaire, whatever, owns many many enterprises. But they sell used records. I never knew that they sold used records. They have a very small section. So there's a mall close by here, and we were out with the kids, and I thought I'd pop in there. And this one was sitting there, and they wanted a little more for it than I was willing to pay. So I just basically said to them, I said, well, you take $20 for it. And they said, sure. And it was actually marked at 35. So I thought that was like, there was no haggling whatsoever. And it was this one here. This is actually a few months back. I'm just getting a chance to show it. So I've actually done a short video with it and stuff like that. It's not my favorite Sabotage. That would be probably The Dungeons Are Calling, which is really just an EP, or Sirens, their debut. I love those two albums. This is definitely a bit different. This came out in '87. But it is a great album, in my humble opinion. I do really enjoy it. And when I saw it, that was something... it was probably more than I want to pay with the sticker that was on it, but when they said they would take, I figured I'd start at $20, whatever. It's a store. I wouldn't do that with your regular mom and pop store person or somebody selling online. I don't try and lowball people, but with the HMV, I thought, well, I'll offer it, and if they don't want it, then it's no sweat. So I'm glad they took it. Another one that I was really fortunate to see, actually the same time I got that Countdown to Extinction, was this one, Ozzy's No Rest for the Wicked. This is the first one with Zakk Wylde on it, and not one of my favorite Ozzy albums, but it is one that has grown on me over the years. I really do like it. Not nearly as much as his first two, and I could say his first three. Even Ultimate Sin I like. The only thing I don't like about Ultimate Sin is that stupid artwork. My opinion, of course, right? To those that like it, that's to each their own, whatever floats your boat. But this one, I actually have learned to, I haven't learned, it's just grown on me the more I listen to it. So I'm really happy to pick that up. And that's another one that commonly goes for big bucks, and I only paid like $30 for it. So same store. So they obviously weren't a fan of that genre or weren't aware of the value. But this one falls into that same category. Well, not really. I don't know if this one ever goes for big bucks. And it's certainly one that I listened to back in the day, and it just did not move the meter for me at all. And it's still, to be honest, still a little, it's not that great in my opinion. But it's really, was always meant to be a solo album. Most of you know the story. Black Sabbath, 7th star, basically Tony Iommi, and the record company needed another record with the Black Sabbath name, so there you go. I think this is one of the few where Geezer does not even appear on this album. It's just Iommi. I mean, there's nobody of Sabbath on that album, and but for what I paid for it, I think that one was only like $15, so decent deal. Another one that I've been looking for a while. I have their debut, and I do have several of them on cassette as well, but never had this on vinyl. Glad to grab it. This is another one that commonly goes for around $100 Canadian here. And it's the Great Radio Controversy by Tesla, their second album. And I really dig the one that came after this too, the live 5-man acoustical jam with signs on it. But this is a really good one. This came out in 87, I believe it was. No, this would have been 89. Must have been later than 87. Yeah, this would have been 89. There's probably a date on here. Yep, there it is, 1989. So that's another one I was glad to pick up. These are probably all within the last, I would say probably 6 months or so even, because I've just been busy, as most of you know, and haven't had a chance to show any. And I do have more that I will get around to showing, but I just can't do it all at once. And then this one, I picked this up. This is directly because of my buddy Steve. Yeah, another shout out, Steve. I know you don't mind, but the only album that actually released by Jay Giles, that's just called Giles or Giles. We always say Jay Giles. I know it's Jay Giles. But Monkey Island from 1977. I believe this was their last one with Atlantic, I read, and I think they actually self-produced it. I believe, anyway. I know Steve will correct me, Professor. I tried to do my homework, so I was glad to pick that up. And that one was cheap. That one was only like $5. So there you go. So now let's move on to stuff I did get for Christmas. That's all new reissue records. So, and these are all things that bring me joy. This is what brings me joy, music. And I saved the very best for last, second last, I guess it is, because there's one at the end I want to show. I'm pretty stoked about. But these all bring me joy, and I think that's why most of us listen to music. We can relate to it on so many levels, no matter what we're going through. We can relate to that. If we're feeling blue, we can put on an album even, and it'll lift our spirits. And even sometimes stuff I listen to that's maybe melancholy. Well, sometimes I just want to be in that place, and I the last little while I went through. I was feeling pretty bummed out. Things were happening that weren't so pleasant, but it's all good. I mean, we go through that. Life is funny that way. Yay. I try and keep my chin up and trudge along, and things always get better. I always get better, but music certainly helps. So cheers, everybody. I hope you're doing good. So let's move on, like I say, to the stuff I got for Christmas, wasn't able to show. Two by this band. This band came out in the late 90s, but I think we're not necessarily to their benefit lumped in with a lot of the new metal, but I don't know, opinions will vary. This is just, I never thought they really belonged in that. I like them. They're more of a metal, traditional, in some ways, metal band. And their debut, it's Godsmack, right? Their self-titled debut. I know they put out one prior to this in 97. This one came out in 99, I think, if I recall. But it's basically the same album. It's just remixed, remastered, and maybe some editing going on, but it's the same album with different artwork. So glad to have that one finally on vinyl. Just straightforward metal for me. And then also got their follow-up, which is titled Awake, same as the song title on there. This one came out in 2000. Really, really good one. This is actually it's a double vinyl, but it's only three-sided. The side four being etched with their kind of sun spot, whatever logo. I don't know what you call that. Not into that kind of thing. I don't follow, what all these symbolisms mean, but pretty cool. Really like that. Glad to finally get those on vinyl. I've always had them on compact disc, so got those two. And then one I picked up recently. This wasn't Christmas, but again, oh my goodness, we talked about how some of the other VC members inspire us to pick things up. A lot of these, really, you see it, somebody has it, and it's like, yeah, I remember that, and I really want to get it. But this one, I didn't know much about prior to hearing about it from Steve. And it's band Rory Gallagher's old band, Taste. And I got their first one because of Steve, and I saw it there, and I grabbed it. And then I saw this recently, which was their follow-up, On the Boards, Taste. This came out in 1970. Really good. Love it. I'm kind of getting on a Rory Gallagher kick because I should have grabbed that too. I got a couple of Rory Gallaghers now, who I knew about. I didn't know this was his original band prior, but it's really good. So glad to get that. Just picked that one up like a week and a half ago. And then this one I already showed in my last video, but I want to show it again because it's new. But it's the On Parole, really their first album with remixing and yeah. Came out in 79 after the success of Bomber and Overkill. Overkill is another one I have on order. I've had it on order for a while, the reissue. Don't know what the holdup is with that. Same as Testament. I've had that on order for a while. Don't know, but anyway. If you're a Motorhead fan, I think it's a must-have, even if Lemmy didn't like it. It was put out by United Artists after the success of Bomber and Overkill. It was never meant to be released, according to Lemmy and the boys. But I like it. It's basically the same as their debut. Again, just with some difference in remixes and with, their debut with Fast Eddie. And yeah, so then I grabbed this one. Christmas. Cool Kids. This is their second. And again, another shout out to a VC member. This is for John, Bip Bop Boom. I watched that Friday stream with him and Patrick and some of the other dudes. Sometimes Sunday, but usually Sunday's a little late for me to catch. They don't come on till about 10:30 my time, so it's a little late. But he'd mentioned that I probably would dig these guys because I never gave them a chance. I just always lumped them in with the Bon Jovis and stuff like that, basically because of their look, which now, as an older person, I know better than to do that. But back then, it was just, whatever. I don't even know why, because there's other bands. I think of one, Exhibit A, coming up here shortly, that as far as a look go, we're probably a little more foolish looking. And I dig it. It's good. I'm glad for the recommendation, John. Thanks for that, man. That's good. I'll leave links below to these guys so you can check them out yourself. John is a very knowledgeable dude with new wave of British heavy metal. I know a few more that know more about it than he does, and I'm sure he would say he doesn't know anything in comparison to some, but that's how this thing works, right? We learn as we go. We just know what we know, and but it's really good. I'd like to get their debut as well. And then the next one up, not to be confused with Rothschild America, but this Rothschild from the UK. This is the Canadian pressing here, this one. I should have put that in the used pile because this is one I picked up recently. I don't know why I didn't. Got them all mixed up while I'm putting them together, I guess. But Stack Attack. And I wrote these down because another one I wasn't huge into at the time, but they're okay. They're in that, I would suggest, you can tell by looking at them, the glam metal scene. I wrote down their names because I'm not familiar with the band all that much. It came out in June of '84. Check out these names. Vocalist is Rocky Shades, Lance Rocket on guitar, Mark Angel on bass, and Eddie Starr on drums. So is that glam or not? Come on. But it's a decent, for that time and for what it is, it's all right. Another reissue just came out. Holocaust, The Nightcomers. I just did a little short with Smoking Valves, which is also the name of that Martin Popoff book about the new wave of British heavy metal. This is their debut. They didn't do much after this. They did do a live one, and most people know of Holocaust because of Metallica. They're another one of those bands like Blitzkrieg, many others. Once Metallica covered, they did an album, a live album after this, Live, Curry and Wine, in '83, I guess it would have been, because this would have been '81. And they did have a couple of singles prior to this in 1980 with Smoking Valves and Heavy Metal Mania, another one that's on here. Heavy Metal Mania. This is the recorded version on here. The single from 1980 is slightly different, but it's a good album. I like it. And the one thing that to me that stands out is the vocalist here. You could easily mistake him for a young James Hetfield. Gary, Jesus, it's escaping me right now. Oh shit, what's his name? Did I write it down? Gary. I did not write it down. What is the matter with me? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just not coming to me right now. Of course it's not, because the camera's rolling and I get all messed up sometimes. But anyway, that's it's a good listen. If you're a fan of new wave of British heavy metal, that early metal sound, I think you'd really dig that album. And then one that my older brother introduced me to, I remember him coming home with this album, and I've always loved it. But it's the second from The Clash, Give 'Em Enough Rope. I finally got this on vinyl at Christmas. I've wanted this one for a long time. But yeah, I've always really liked this one. The first North American to feature, or the first UK album to feature Topper Headon on drums, because their debut came out in '77 in the UK. It did not have Topper Headon on it. It had Tory Crimes, but this wasn't released in North America until '79, and then their debut came out after this. This was no, this would have been late 78, wouldn't it have been? Yeah, this would have been the fall of 78. Yeah, and then their debut came out in North America here in the summer of 79. But that is their second album, Give 'Em Enough Rope. I really like that album. Yeah, just one that always stood out to me. I remember as a kid, of course, all the young punks, new boots and contracts, but Drug Stabbing Time, and Julie's Been Working for the Drug Squad. Just classic Clash. Just absolutely love those. I like the whole thing. And then talk about things that bring me joy. I have 3 grandsons, and listening to music with them, often just being with them brings me joy. But listening to music with them and watching certain films with them, it's an experience. And one such thing that brings me a lot of joy, and I've showed it here before with them, but now when we listen to it together, it's very meaningful. You know, they're growing, and I'm trying to explain to them about the passing of my mom, and so, you know, their great grandma, and it's just something. It's one of those moments, and listening to this album, sometimes it's got a different feel from before my mom passed away and after, with these guys, and it's just an incredible album. And it's Trent Reznor and what's the other guy's name? Atticus Ross, 9 Inch Nails, and it's the original score from the Pixar film Soul. It's all instrumental. I mean, it's just an incredible, and it's kind of funny because I'm not big into jazz, but it is very jazzy. But it's just soulful jazz, and yeah, it's incredible to listen to in their presence. In fact, I don't think I've listened to it outside of being with them. I usually listen to it with them. And yeah, it's just one of those ones that talk about something that brings you joy. This is probably number 1 on my list presently, but for completely different reasons. It's just those kids, and hearing that and seeing how it moves them. And a couple I didn't pull out, other friends in the VC and whatnot. The couple of CDs I have from Mickey, Symptoms of Lunacy, both of his CDs bring joy. You know, Josh, Keish, you know, watching other VC members ply their craft, play their guitars, their music, whatever, the passion they show in doing that, and then sharing that with others is a very joyful thing. I hope it brings them joy, because it certainly brings me joy to listen to them. So yeah, if you haven't heard their albums, check them out, because they're awesome. And then the last one, I got this for Christmas, have not had a chance to even show it, or maybe I did show it, but it's the Seven Savage, the Wasp box set, from 84 to 92. Now, admittedly, it's got Wasp debut, The Last Command, Inside the Electric Circus, The Headless Children, The Crimson Idol, all mastered half speed. And then it's got plus live in the raw and bonus tracks and B-sides with Animal, Like a Beast, 60-page book, and 2 posters compiled with full cooperation of Blackie Lawless. I've got the debut, I had Last Command, I had Inside the Electric Circus, and The Headless Children was probably where I jumped off. And not because I didn't like it, it's just life had changed. The late 80s, I was completely immersed in something other than music. Wasn't number 1 at that point in my life. But I am stoked to have this. I haven't even cracked the seal on it, and you know what? I'm going to do that right now. If you will humor me and stick around, why not? We'll just crack this open live. Get that started. Always like Wasp though, and I know some of the latter albums. I'm not even familiar with them at all. But this one, this box set, most of it I will be at least familiar with. So many of you have probably seen tons of these already, these unboxings, and this nice casing that it's bound with good heavy, it's good stock. I mean, so we'll pull out the records. Of course, the debut. Always had this one, and I don't even know if it's just regular black vinyl. I didn't watch any other unboxings. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's just a regular black vinyl. So the debut. So this looks pretty much the same as I remember it being. Oh, there's something else in here though that I don't remember this being in there. So this is probably the posters they're talking about. So this brings me joy. Yeah, okay, so Wasp. Yeah, this is cool. So it's got that. That's pretty awesome. I'm feeling pretty joyful now. So yeah, the only problem with doing these type of threads and showings is putting them all away again, which if any of you saw my little impromptu room tour, you see how much of a mess I have going on here. So that's the debut. And we should have Last Command. Yeah, there we go, Last Command. And everybody I knew was into metal were huge Wasp fans. I don't know how you couldn't be. And that one's just black vinyl as well. I don't think there's anything inside this one. It doesn't feel like it. No, but inside the sleeve, it does have the same same emblem as on the flag there. Who Dares Wins. Remember that? A lot of this stuff is, I think it's on here too, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. Who Dares Wins. It's on the inside of the sleeve here. And the inside of the sleeve is kind of black, and you can see that logo in there. That's cool. Very nice. So impressive so far. I'm sure it all will be. And then inside the Electric Circus, all these are just pouring the memories now. Yeah, this one's got a poster in it. And I just noticed that all of them are black on the inside with writing on the inside of the sleeve. And so here's the record, the inner sleeve. I think this is the last one that had Steve Riley on drums. Chris Holmes is still there. Yeah. Benally, I think, came in after this from Quiet Riot, who sadly passed away. I think, 2016 or something? Or maybe it was earlier than that. Time flies. Loved his drumming. Still, one song that brings me joy and gets me going every time is the way that Metal Health opens up with that, just killer. This is quite the poster. Oh my goodness. Don't like to open these up, and I probably will put them back, and that'll be the end of it, but big poster there, Blackie. That's pretty cool. Not like 17-year-old Twanger. I guess that would have been when this came out, 18. I won't be hanging that up. Be okay, I guess it would look all right in a frame, but I'm just going to keep it like that. And then, of course, we've got Live in the Raw. Yeah, pretty cool. And open this up. Yeah. So, Who Dares Wins. Again. Yeah, no, this is this live. This would have been the Inside the Electric Circus tour, right? So it's got still got Riley on drums there, Steve Riley. And what else we got? Okay, yeah, the Headless Cross, or talking about Sabbath, the Headless Children. So there is actually no drummer credited on this one. I never noticed that before. Blackie Lawless, Chris Holmes, and Johnny Rod. And what about on here? Yeah, Frankie Benelli is on here. I guess it was just studio at that time, but he did join Wasp. Yeah. And Ken Hensley on keyboard. It's a great album, actually. Again, it's all black on the inner liner with this same imagery as on the inner sleeve. I don't know if they're hiding a shiv up his sleeve or something. Yeah. There's that one. Okay, I know I'm getting long in the tooth here for a video. And then the Crimson Idol. So I know my buddy Aaron has talked highly about this, and I've never had it on any format, so I'm looking forward to this one. Jonathan Lives Here. I don't know the backstory to this or anything like that, so this is intriguing. Looking forward to this. And the inner sleeves, both. It's a 2 LP set. So yeah, there's some. Oh, I see side 4's bonus tracks. Looking forward to that. This one is produced by Blackie Lawless. And I think there's one more here. Let's get that back in. I hope you're still sticking around, everyone. This is pretty cool for me. I'm sharing this with you. And then the bonus tracks and B-sides, Wasp. I'm sorry, did I show you the Crimson Idol up close like I had with the others? That's what that one looks like. I might have got carried away and lost in what I'm doing, so. And there's the Headless Children one. Keep those in order. This is a nice box set. This is really, really, really happy about this one. And this is just a regular sleeve, but it's rice paper inside. So bonus tracks and B-sides. And it's got the Animal tune on here, which I'm pretty sure he probably doesn't perform live anymore, knowing his newfound faith. I don't know how new it is. I don't follow, these artists. I don't follow the personal lives. And then the booklet. It's a pretty hefty booklet, so it's got a lot of stuff in here. Probably well, obviously, the story between 84 and 92 will be well covered in here, but that's it. I'm going to leave it at that. That's long enough. I might be able to edit this down, but anyway, go and check out all these channels. I'll leave links below to all that I mentioned, and I'm sure you'll really dig them. I hope you enjoyed this one, and maybe I'll hop on another one in the coming days. We'll see. But until then, take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you here next time at Twanger's Turntable. Cheers, everyone.